Today we're going to review the race that I did in St. Louis, Missouri for the Gateway Cup. It was an awesome race, huge fields, great excitement. It was the last crit race of the season. It took me a few weeks to put this together. I got cross videos, I got a bunch of stuff going on that I'm excited about. One of the things that I'm the most excited about is that I'm going to be launching a new product very soon. Maybe not everyone who watches my videos knows this, but I actually invent cycling products or create brands. And I'm just about to launch another one. It's going to be on Kickstarter, and it's going to support my new idea, which is a brand of alpaca socks focused on people who are active in the outdoors. They are fantastic socks. I've actually been messing around with this idea for over 2 years, testing samples, prototypes, different yarns, different manufacturing methods. Super excited about what I found. There's going to be a ton more information coming out soon, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a preview. More details to follow. We'll talk about it later, but I just wanted to let you know that that's what I've been working on. Very excited about it. Yeah, very excited. Again, I really need to work on these endings. I talk, and then I end. Anyway, let's get into this race, this video, and this trip to St. Louis. It was an awesome time. If you can make it to Gateway Cup next year, put it on your calendar. I know what's going on mine. Hey race fan, Brian Davis races, and you can too. Thanks for checking this out. This was a great trip down to St. Louis. We really had a fun time. So I had some life circumstances change. Essentially, well, I don't have a job anymore. It was not quite my choice, but it did free up the schedule. So I had extra time to be able to go race my bike one last time in the season. So this is in St. Louis. This is Gateway Cup. There is a race Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday on Labor Day weekend. Memorial Day, Labor Day, I don't know, whichever one's in the fall. I always get those mixed up. So this is the Masters 1, 2, 3, 4 category, which is really unique. Not used to that. So the field size for this race, this was the Saturday race, and it was, or no, I take that back. This is the Friday race, and the field size was somewhere around 80. Despite pretty awful conditions. The video does not do it justice for what the conditions were. So a very straightforward course, huge roads, safe turns. That part is great. So it's really just a mano-a-mano fitness test. Both races, the Friday and Saturday. I only did 2 out of the 4 races, but that's essentially what happens in both these races. So now what's going to happen here is the roads are wet, so everybody's concerned about that. I dropped my pressure. So just a quick review, this summer I raced a lot at Tour of America's Dairyland, and we had a number of days of rain racing. So I learned a lot about racing in the rain, and the biggest thing I learned was to drop that tire pressure, hugely important, and I thank my teammate Brent Williams for his advice. Here's how I arrived at the tire pressure number, which I'll reveal to you in a second. I was so nervous, I'm constantly so nervous about dropping my tire pressure too low, that I am almost always too high, according to Brent and according to the feel. So the first time I did a wet race in Tour of America's Dairyland, I was petrified. Carbon rim brakes, these particular Bontrager rims are just not the best in the rain, so super, super scared. And then throughout the week, Brent talked me into trying lower and lower tire pressure until I felt more comfortable. Ultimately, he would give me a number, and I wouldn't believe him that that would be a good idea. So what we decided on is, Brent, why don't you just do my tires? I'll trust you completely. I'll go race. Do not tell me the number. I'll just go race and let you know how I feel when I get back. Well, turns out it's fantastic. What a huge difference that made. So Brent put my tires somewhere in the mid-60s to low 60s. So for this race, I was running 63 on the front and 65 in the back. And you know what? It felt great. Again, this video is not doing it justice for how wet it was. My warm-up was pretty abbreviated, and it was raining on me. Throughout the course of the race, we're going to get more and more rain. Right after this race, it rained so hard and had so much thunder that they canceled, or not canceled, but they had a huge delay in the races, and they still did get the pro race off, which is surprising to me. So now the wetness in the race is about to become kind of an ordeal in my race. So there's going to be a crash coming up. And what I want to run through there is the concept of thinking ahead about what are the things that could happen. So I'm racing a crit in the rain with a huge field. What do you think are those things that could happen to me? Well, I feel confident there's going to be a crash. So what's going to happen after the crash? Am I going to get up? Am I going to know where the pits are? Am I going to know where medical is? Am I going to know what to do with my bike? Do I have spare wheels in the pit? These are things that I did not spend any time thinking about. And I regret that, because you're going to see it cost me some mental bandwidth. When I do finally hit the deck, which is not my fault, my process to get going again was probably more luck than anything else. So there's a clip when I fall. I'll have to go dig it back up to play the audio, but in case I get lazy and don't do that, the audio after I crash here in a few minutes is, I am quitting. I'm done. Good night. I'm finished. And ultimately, that wasn't true. I maintained my position in the race. So where I'm at in the field right now, I'm probably about half pack. I'm about halfway back in the field, and I feel relatively okay about that. I'd like to move up. A couple things about these turns. Going into the start-finish turn, which is where the crash occurs, right there, those barriers skinny up just a little bit. And the lap before was my first time out on that side, and I didn't realize they skinnied up that much. And I think that's what caught somebody else out ahead of me, is that they skinnied up enough where someone thought, they just ran out of room. So here I crash. I get back on the bike. I was initially going to quit. Absolutely 100% was going to quit. There's bodies all over the floor. Everybody, I think, was okay in this crash. A couple broken. I think somebody broke their bike, but ultimately I don't think there were any broken people, which is great. Now, it's a big course, and it takes a few minutes to get around this course, so you got some time to kind of collect your thoughts. But here you can see I don't know where to go for the pit. I think it's behind me. Total rookie dumb move. How do I not know where the pit is? Always past start finish line. Well, I shouldn't say always, but usually past start finish line. So I finally figure out where the pits are. I get back on the bike, and then all of a sudden the bike feels really, really weird, and I don't quite know what's going on. Well, what's going on is I have a flat front tire. So I'm heading to the pit to get my free lap, and on the way there I realize that I have a flat front tire. Now I'm running tubeless, and I'm going to be doing a video on my entire review of tubeless for racing crits coming up shortly. But spoiler alert, I'm kind of a fan. Except, well, anyway, I'm kind of a fan. So I run into the pits, and I have to say, this pit mechanic that you're about to see his face right here in a few minutes, unbelievable. This guy is awesome, from Big Shark Bikes in St. Louis. I didn't catch his name, but he helped me 2 days in a row. Does a great job of fixing this. Super calm demeanor, not agitated, not concerned. He's calming me down. This is great. So I tell him, do you have any neutral wheels? I didn't know if they had neutral wheels. That's something I should have checked on previously. Yep, they do have neutral wheels. Great. So he puts in a Mavic wheel, or whatever, neutral wheel. Sorry, I shouldn't say the brand. I don't know what it was. And then right here, you're going to see me hit my brakes. Oh, no brakes. And the judge is about to say, okay, here comes the field. Get ready to go. Get ready to go. I roll it back and say, hey, man, I got no brakes. Like, there's nothing on my front rim. So he does a 2-second fix, which was amazing, and at least gets me maybe 15% of my normal power on the front end. And the judge looks at me and says, there goes your field. Oh, boy. All right. Well, we're definitely going to be burning some matches here. So let's go back to when I talked earlier about this being a Masters 1, 2, 3, 4 field. There's a sweet turn. So that guy has too much tire pressure, right? I can guarantee that. So that 1, 2, 3 part of the story is interesting. So what happens in a crash like that, it blows apart the field. There's definitely a lead group that's doing the work, or that upper echelon of riders that have the ability to potentially win this race. So they're going to be up in the front third, or even the front 10, 15, 20 riders, and everybody past that, and I said there's somewhere around 80 people that started this race, are people that are just sort of don't know what's going to happen. So maybe there's a lot of Cat 4s. Well, as I'm picking people off to work my way back to the group, I'm 100% sure that there are a lot of Cat 4s back here that I'm working through, but I'm grateful that they're there because it gives me a second to catch a draft. It's almost like bridging through the cars to get back up to the group. Not all these people are Cat 4s. Some of them were caught in the crash, but I'm able to pretty quickly rejoin the group, or at least the tail end of the group. And I sit back in this. I think this is actually a little bit of a chase group. Sorry about the, obviously it rained, so sorry about the bubbles on the GoPro. Apologize for that. But I see that this is not actually the group. Once I get up there, I'm like, okay, I have to work a little bit harder. And 165, follow my channel, heart rate for me is a load of work on me. It's pretty early in the race, so I feel confident that I'm going to have some time to rest. But this is the name of the game for a couple laps. We're pretty strung out, at least toward the back of the field. And then it's a question of trying to get as much rest as I can, slowly moving my way up, not panicking. I don't need to get back up to the first third of this race in the next 2 minutes, right? So this is a little fast forward. We'll see if we can jump up a little bit quicker using fast forward. But again, this is my strategy. Move up a couple, take a rest. Move up a couple, take a rest. There's no rush. Lots of race left to do. Move up, take a rest. And what really helps here too is my tire pressure trick. I shouldn't call it a trick, but my tire pressure knowledge gave me an awful lot of confidence in these turns. So when other guys would be hitting their brakes or taking strange lines, I was able to rail the line pretty solidly and do what I need to do to pass a couple people on the turns. And again, the name of the game, rest, get a little break, and then just keep working my way up. Now, some of these folks are working their way up as well, but I'll take what I can get. Okay, so now I'm back in the front. These are the fast folks at the front of the race. There's some Wisconsin racers there, the White brothers. There's Bart to my right. He's in the all-black kit. Bart is from California, great sprinter. And there's Sean, his teammate, or friend. I think they're teammates. But those two do a great job at the end of the race. Not sure I get footage of them, but they came to win the 50-plus category. That's another thing with this race. It's the 40-plus category plus the 50-plus category racing together. So there's kind of two different races happening at the same time. Although I can tell you anyone who's 50-plus definitely wants to win the overall race. They're not necessarily concerned about the age as they're racing. Immediately afterwards, yes, they're concerned about the age. But in the meantime, they're going to try to win this race. All right, so now we're getting 40 minutes, and we're 40 minutes into this race. They ended up cutting our race off just a hair. It was supposed to be 50 minutes, but I think we ended up racing only like 45 or something like that. So we're getting into the final lap or two, and I'm in a good spot. I feel really good. My heart rate feels good. My ability to my feeling of being recovered from the crash and the chase feels really good. It was a long stretch of just knocking down laps. I don't think there was any significant breakaways up the road that really ended up mattering for this race. Gosh, just for the record, I want to be very clear. This is weeks later that I'm doing this recording, and now I'm totally blanking on the winners of this race, if there was a split in the field at the end. I don't think there was. I think it was just a group sprint on the Friday race. The Saturday race was a little bit different. The Saturday race, Barry Rolling went off the front solo with 2 to go and stuck it by himself and won. Also from Wisconsin, super strong rider. A lot of strong riders in Wisconsin. Would like to point that out as well. So, all right, we're getting close to the end. I feel like I'm in a pretty good position, and going back to some of those lessons I learned from Toad, the concept that I want to be thinking about in the last couple laps of these races, now that I'm getting, at the end of the season, I'm getting more used to things, is I just want to constantly be moving up. I don't ever want to settle for, I'm just going to hang out here for a second, because exactly this move right here, people are doing that all the time, swamping from the outside, and then you're just getting this washing machine effect. So if you get complacent in the middle, so you can see I just went up to the front now. Oh, there's 3 riders up the front. Looks like we're going to put a little dig in to get them. Now I got... I came up the outside, I got into the middle of the peloton, and now I'm pushed back to a third just like that. So less than a fourth of a lap, and I went from first wheel to, what am I, probably 12th, fifth, not counting the 3 up the front, 12th, 15, maybe even 20 guys back here. I mean, it's spread out, but that's something to be concerned about. Yeah, so that's, heavy hitters from California came for this race. Great race, just really well organized, lots of fun, cool parts of town. I grew up in St. Louis, so we were able to stay with my parents. I could fold that into the trip, which is always fun. And it was right before the kids started school and right before my wife started school, because she's a teacher, librarian person. So, okay, now I know we're getting very close to the end. Again, I'm feeling pretty good. First day race, everyone's a little twitchy. No one is 100% sure of who's who. Although at the race like this, there's 15 guys that all know each other and they race all over the country. We'll just call it 15. So they know each other from race after race after race. Carlos Casali is here. Emil Abraham from Florida is here. Like I said, Bart. The methods to winning. Oh, his name, Sharon, is here. And the White brothers are here. There's some really strong riders from Intent in Chicago here. I don't know their names, but they did a great job. There's one rider here in a minute that's going to do something awfully sketchy, and I feel compelled to call him out because he did it multiple times throughout the weekend. So when that comes, I'll let you know. Should be actually after this. Oh, maybe we're 2 turns away from the sketchiness. Where are we finishing already? No, I don't think we're finishing. So we're going pretty fast here, 27 miles an hour. The average speed on this race was over 27 miles an hour, so it was a really peppy race. I don't think this is... I think we got one more lap. Yeah, right. One more lap. This can't be the end. Correct. All right, so this is 99% sure this is going to be the last lap. Okay, so that rider to my right, it's got orange and white with a big B on his butt. He's going to do something obnoxious here in a second. So he decides that he wants... Well, see, you can see he sort of did it there, although that was perfectly safe. But this next move coming up, the door gets shut on him. He gets in the middle of the peloton. He doesn't want to be there, which is fine. You know, obviously no one wants to, but you can't barge your way out of the middle just because you want to and take other people's safety in jeopardy. It's just not right. It's just not how things should be done. All right, so you can see people sprinting to hold, well, not sprinting, but definitely working hard to hold their spot. It's getting really difficult to hold your spot because those big wide roads are leading to this big wide peloton. I think I got him doing his behaviors. Let's see. There he is. All right. Now watch what's going to happen here. This is just not, in my opinion, that is obnoxious. It doesn't look as bad as it did in real life. It looked way worse in real life, but I'm still going to call that out anyway. There was plenty of room for him to just go straight up instead of going out to the outside and doing that again. So let me know your comments below. Is that perfectly acceptable? Was it on the edge? Was it a gray area? You know, now that I'm watching it, it doesn't seem terribly dangerous, but again, in real life, it absolutely changes things. Okay, so now we're getting ready. This is the final turn. We're going in the sprint. I let myself get back maybe a little bit too far here. And then I think I mentally just kind of shut myself down from doing a good job. Like closing that would have been great, hitting this turn with a little bit more speed. But I come off this wheel pretty good, and I get a little dig in. Yep. So I had a clean line. I just didn't have much pop in my legs after that chase and effort. So anyway, that's the race. I want to thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.